A warm welcome to all of you in today's top PIB news session on EduTap, in which we are going to discuss the National Achievement Survey 2021 report, which was recently released. See, we all know that reports and indices are really very important from the exam point of view, and recently I really believe that all of you have really done well in the RBI Grade B Phase 1 exam. But now this is the right time to gear up for the Phase 2 exam, and we all know that reports and indices are really very important from the exam point of view. And when I talk about this report, then this is really very important because it comes under the syllabus as well as it also under the sector of social sector in India, education, and that's why this report is really very important for the RBI Grade B as well as NABARD Grade A exam. So today we are going to discuss this report in a very detailed manner. So guys, here you can see a headline from the PIB that Ministry of Education has released the National Achievement Survey 2021 report. See, when I talk about this report has been recently released. Basically, this report tells us about the efficiency of school education in our country, and how it does this. It basically conducts a survey across the country and it assesses the competency level of the students across different levels, and that's how it tells us about the efficiency of the school education system in our country, so that we can just close the learning gaps and as well as we can improve the education sector in our country. So guys, here you can see that around 34 lakh students of the 1.18 lakh schools in 70 districts from both rural and urban areas participated in NAS 2021. So whenever we talk about any report, we always tell you that you are required to cover first of all the very first dimension, that is the releasing body of the report. And here this report has been basically released by Ministry of Education and prepared by the Department of School Education and Literacy. And when I talk about the assessment of the students at different levels, so basically the survey is being conducted for grades 3, 5, 8 and 10, a very important point that is really very important from the exam point of view. So this survey is being conducted for the grades 3, 5, 8 and 10th standard students. Now when I talk about the administration of this survey, see, this survey is basically administered by the Central Board of Secondary Education. So guys, please note down these points because all these points are really very important from the exam point of view. Now when I talk about the National Achievement Survey, see, as you can see here that it is a system level assessment, that is, it summarizes the students' achievement at national, state, UT and the district levels. And when I talk about this survey is basically a large scale assessment conducted to obtain information about the learning achievement of the students. And these students are what kind of students? These are those students which are studying in the government schools, which includes central government as well as state government. It also includes the government aided schools. It also includes the private unaided schools. So when I talk about the different subjects across which at these different levels the students are being assessed, so the subjects are basically for the class 3rd and 5th standard. It is basically the language, mathematics and EVS. When I talk about the class 8 standard, it is basically being assessed on language, mathematics, science and social science. And when I talk about the class 10 standard, it is basically the language, mathematics, science, social science and English. So all these, across all these subjects at these different classes, the students are being assessed, their competency levels are being assessed in these language across these particular standards. So I believe that this is very much clear to all of you. So now when we talk about this particular report, I already told you that it basically, see, this particular report assesses the health of school education system in our country by conducting a comprehensive evaluation survey. And for which standard it is being conducted, I already told you, for class 3, 5, 8 and 10, and the subjects are also being told to you in this particular session. So guys, apart from that, when I talk about the survey is being conducted with the help of some questionnaires, and these questionnaires are basically being developed and translated in 22 scheduled languages by the NCERT, a very important point that you are required to remember from the exam point of view. And I believe that this particular thing is very much clear to all of you. So about the National Achievement Survey, this is once again a very important part. It comes under the framework, and that's how it becomes really important from the exam point of view. Now when I talk about the objective, here it is very much clear that it is to evaluate the children's progress and the learning competencies. And how it is going to help you? See, it is basically going to help us to assess and to find out the gaps which are there in the learning process of the students. Apart from that, it is also going to help the states and UTs governments in developing long-term, mid-term and short-term interventions to basically close these gaps, and that's how it is going to help these states and UTs to take appropriate steps for the remedial actions at the different levels so that they can improve the school education, they can improve the efficiency of school education in our country. So guys, when I talk about the key findings, one of the very important dimension of this particular report, here you can see that learning at home during the pandemic. See, this was one such a major section of the report, and here you can see these are the percentage of the students. 45% students basically found joyful that the learning was fun when they were studying at home during the pandemic, while 38% students said that they faced difficulty in learning when they were learning at home. 50% said there was no difference. 78% found it burdensome as lot of assignments were being given to them. So here you can see that what kind of findings that we have, what are the different views of the students as per this particular survey, and these numbers are really very important for you to cover from the exam point of view. Now, one more important point that you should note down here, that 24% of the students said that no digital devices was there at home in order to learn, in order to do the assignments. Apart from that, 80% students felt learn better in school with peers' help, as they got the peers' help when they were learning in the schools. So these are the important findings about the report. Now, when we talk about the average performance of the students at the national level in the scale score out of 500, so here you can see the national scores of the students in the different grades and across the different languages. So when I talk about the class 3, the average score of the students in the language was 323. When I talk about the class 5, it was 306 for the mathematics, 307 for the EVS. When I talk about class 5, it was 309 for language, 284 for mathematics and 283 for EVS. Now when I talk about the class 8, once again all the average scores are being mentioned here. Now guys, see, apart from the average scores, this particular report also tells us that the students which basically belong to SC, ST and OBC category basically performed worse than the general category students, as this report found that the general category students in class 8 scored an average of 260 marks in the mathematics, while the students which belong to the SC category, they scored 249 marks, and ST category scored 244 and OBC scored 253 marks. So guys, the major important point that you are required to remember here, that SC, ST and OBC students have performed worse than the general category students. Okay? Apart from that, this report also tells us about the educational status of the mother, and this report found that the 18% of the mothers can't read and write, 7% are literate without schooling, 5% below primary. So these are also talking about the education status of the mothers, and this report tells us about these findings as well. Now, apart from that, when I talk about the report card, that how all the states across these different grades, across these different languages, the test basically failed. So guys, when I talk about the class 3, here you can see Rajasthan topped it. But guys, more important point I would like to tell here, that in most of the cases, the India's national average score has basically reduced as compared to the last year. For example, here you can see that this particular report for 2017, the India's national score was 68 for class 3. But when I talk about this year report, it states that India's national score was only 62. So in most of the cases, you will find out that these particular scores has reduced from the last edition. And then when I talk about the last edition of the report, it was basically launched in 2017. And this report is being, this survey is being conducted in every 3 years. So that is one more important point that you should note down from this particular part. Now, apart from that, when I talk about one of the other major important finding, then there is a state, that is Punjab, which has basically topped in most of the subjects, in most of the classes. For example, in the class 3, for the language, it was topped by Punjab. For the maths, it was topped by Punjab. For class 5th as well, in the EVS as well as language and maths, Punjab was the state which topped all these particular categories. So guys, here you can see the most important findings. So this was all from the today's session. I really believe that this report is very much clear to all of you. And guys, now, if you have still not subscribed to your YouTube channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us. And you can also join our Telegram channel to get the access to the PDF of these sessions. To join the Telegram channel, kindly click on the link given in the description below. So guys, apart from that, here is the homework question for all of you that I want all of you to answer in the comment section. And the question is, recently, which one of the following organizations has released the State of the Global Climate in 2021 report? The options are WMO, IMD, ISRO, NASA, IQ-AIR. So please tell me the right answer in the comment section. Now guys, when I talk about the importance of the report, see, in the RBI Grade B Phase 1 exam as well, you can see that there was a question on the World State of Forest report, which was also discussed in the PIB session. So that's how these reports are really very important, and this basically comes under the report that we have discussed today, comes under the social sector in India education, and that's how it is really very important from the exam point of view. And guys, this report is also very important, so please tell me what is the right answer in the comment section below. So guys, I hope that today's session was useful and fruitful to all of you. If you have any queries, you can drop us a mail at hello@edutap.co.in, and you can also call us at 8146207241. So thank you for joining us. Wish you all happy learning.